Hi, I'm Marilyn, the two-tip lady, helping make your life more simple. Let me ask you a question. Does anyone really have the power to make us angry? I learn a lot of lessons in my bush spot where there are kangaroos and wombats and bearded dragons and even slithery snakes to teach me. I don't like the snakes and I can barely cope with the dragons, but I'm wondering, as I often do you ever feel like hissing like a snake and acting like a dragon while breathing smoke and fire and brimstone down other people's necks when they annoy you? I'll ask that question again. Does anyone really have the power to make us angry? Do they? Or is that power something that we give to ourselves? Let's think about it. I'm going to give you 2 tips today to help you get rid of that hissing, breathing monster inside, and these tips work. The trick is to use them. So let's see what they are. The first one is simple. But it's not easy to do. But it is simple. Here it is. Zip your lips. Tip number 1, zip your lips. That's all it is. Yep, easy. Well, simple, but not easy. When you feel the heat rising and you start to feel like smoke's going to belch out of your mouth any moment at somebody, do you think it could be possible to zip your lips instead and quietly walk away? How would you do this when every part of you is all geared up with your adrenaline running on full alert and you're ready to strike that match? How can you zip your lips and walk away? Well, I'll tell you one way that I used to do when we lived in a luxuriant rainforest years ago. There were times that things were annoying, severely so, and I'd suddenly experience that feeling of anger and I would just want to lash out. Well, I had a little spot in the bush under the tall, stately trees, and I learned to zip my lips and run outside rather than reacting. I wish I'd done this all the time. I'd sit on a little log on the forest floor and before long I'd notice a bird calling, or a magpie pecking away, or I'd see a kookaburra banging a big worm on a log, and some forest creature scratching around in the dirt. And it would take my focus off my frustration and I'd start to feel happy again. Then I could walk back inside with a smile on my face and forget the anger of the moment. And what a blessing that is, because what happens if you give in to anger? Do things get better? No way. Usually things get worse. Hurting people is no fun. And usually you do. And something I learnt too. Apologising is not fun either. I don't like doing that. I'd rather zip my lips. Crying till you're swollen and full of self-pity is no fun either. I've found that the person usually hurt the most is me. So if it's someone else, well, yes, I've already mentioned that apologising is no fun. You can knock that bit out. So the best thing you can do is to say, I'm going to walk away from the situation and I'm going to zip my lips. You might want to just walk outside in the fresh air, look at the sunshine or notice the birds, look at the stars, and just breathe deeply. And you can actually say, God, would you help me to overcome this feeling? And do you know, He will. Nature will do it for you too. We can kindle a huge fire when we allow ourselves to give in to anger, and fires are never easy to put out. So tip number 1, zip your lips and walk away. That's it. Simple, not easy. Tip number 2 is a natural result of doing tip number 1. Here it is. Refocus your attention. 3 words. For tip number 1, zip your lips. Tip number 2, 3 words. Refocus your attention. If you do tip number 1, zip your lips and walk away, tip number 2 is going to happen naturally. Think about the person who's making us pretty cranky. Perhaps you could be misunderstanding them. You just might be getting it all wrong. I have many times in the past when I thought it was all somebody else's fault, when actually I was just tired or hungry or both. I wasn't really listening properly. I misjudged what they said. We all do that sometimes. You can figure out how to refocus your attention. You might actually think something nice about that person. Whoa! You mightn't feel like it, but give it a go. You can do it. We can choose how to react. Others are not responsible for our choices. Just try this next time the heat is rising and blowing steam, and smoke and fire would be your next natural reaction. Zip your lips, refocus your attention. Do you have to do this entirely without help? No, because God will help us. We choose and He helps. In Psalm 146:5, God reminds us that happy is he that hath the God of Jacob for his help, whose hope is in the Lord. These tips work, so give them a go, because I know. That's it today from the Two-Tip Lady, who loves to help make your life more simple.